An inspiring life story is the account of a moment when an extraordinary person reveals the key that unlocked the door to their success. Among the many themes explored in these narratives are triumphs over adversity and the shattering of previously established boundaries. Not only can you as an individual motivate others to chase their dreams, but you can also provide them with the means they need to keep going strong once they reach their goals. Walking down all types of roads, wide, narrow, in between, yet ending up on a stage with the same scene. No matter how many turns the route takes me, I end up getting nowhere, still at the point that breaks me. Am I going insane, traveling the same street? I seem to keep missing where my change and direction meet. Voices calling, directing me to an unfamiliar path, yet the destination's still the same upon the aftermath. No other guidance in sight, I'm left to hunt. Thinking I was destined, I fell for the stunt. Still, I travel unknown pasture, though it contains familiar attractions. Its constant arrival in my journey became a distraction. To a point I had to pause and gaze the scenery. Despite its repeated crossing, tempted my steps seemingly. Thinking, though it's unlikely, I could be looking blind, missing the critical signs, excessively searching for what is in the hands of the divine. Welcome, everyone, to the Live and Learn podcast, the show where we explore the fascinating journey of personal growth, share life-changing stories, and dive deep into the lessons that shape who we are. I'm your host, Walter Williams, and I am, as always, excited to discuss with you and embark on an powerful and enlightening journey with how life has so many ways to teach us different things. Life, as we know, is definitely an incredible teacher. Every experience or triumph or challenge leaves behind valuable lessons. Whether it's navigating relationships, pursuing passions, or facing adversity, we are all constantly learning and evolving. In this space, we bring you stories of remarkable individuals who have faced life head on, embraced change, and emerged stronger and wiser. Today, I share with you a point of revelation that came about for me a couple of weeks ago when I discovered myself at a crossroads. And that's what that poem was called, At a Crossroads. We find ourselves, sometimes going down different paths, but ending at the same destination. You know how you have that one friend or relative that may live not that far from you, may live about 20, 25 minutes away from you, but there are several ways you can take to get to their house or their place. You can take back roads, you can take a main road, you can take the highway. There are many different ways you can get to that destination. And that destination in today's topic is fulfillment. What does fulfillment look like to you? And at what cost or at what stop would you go to reach fulfillment? Fulfillment can look like many different things to many people. So it sometimes is a very broad term to discuss. But for the sake of what I'm sharing today, fulfillment for me is feeling empowered and entrusted to take a leadership step and own what it is that I've been given responsibility to do. I discovered this with both my platform and my full-time job, where I keep finding myself at the same place that I started a while ago, wondering how do I take that next step to reach fulfillment within the space that I'm in. With my podcast or my platform, there have been many times where I said, I just want to be able to have a voice that speaks to many, that empowers and inspires many people. What that looks like, I kept wanting to put different identifications on it. I wanted that to look like receiving a bunch of money, a bunch of likes, a bunch of subscribers, a bunch of attention, a bunch of questions. There's so many different things that not only myself, but we as individuals seek to feel fulfilled in whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish and endure in our life. When it comes to my job, I again have been down many paths with that. I've held 3 different roles in the past 4 years. And though the one that I held first out of those 3 was one that I was in for 6 years, I came out of that job in 2020 and no 2021 and found my previous job that I was in at that time and just left that job last September. And here I am at a crossroads wondering why I'm at the same destination, or I'm at the same point where I've been trying to find a different route, but keep ending up at the same destination. And the reason why I'm struggling to find that destination because I keep moving the goalpost on what fulfillment feels like or looks like to me. In the first of the 3 roles I had, I felt stuck, unable to grow, nowhere to climb. So God finally gives me a way out. I climb out of that hole and end up now at a job, not only a job that I feel, I'm able to grow in, but the role that I've been wanting, because I'm the kind of person that's always ambitious, that's always saying what's next. And I did that so much throughout my career that it got to a point in 2021 where I finally got that role that I aspired to obtain when I graduated college, that I got it sooner than I expected. So I took a chance, I took a risk and got that job. And lo and behold, I'm hired for that position about 4 or 5 years sooner than I expected. So in getting that role, I realized, okay, I'm here. But I find out that not only was I dealing with a unfavorable manager, but the role was not encompassing the kind of responsibility and leverage for myself that I was expecting. I wasn't being given the authority or the trust to own and lead certain ventures and projects and, organizations within the company. So that, along with the frustration in my relationship with my boss, led me to find the job that I'm in now, which is a similar role, but supposedly more control, or at least more responsibility. The company is smaller. The program, though not as big, but it's a program that I'm able to wrap my hands around and own. The person that hires me was excited about bringing me on board, gave me all of this, gave me all of this excitement, all of these things to look forward to about the role, saying, yeah, I want you to do this, you're going to get to do that. And eventually the goal is, or the hope is, for this program to grow to a point where you'll have someone reporting to you. So that excited me. Not only did I experience a bump in my pay, but now I'm finally getting to almost be at the same level as my previous boss. So I'm excited about it. 3 months later, my boss is laid off. So things took a turn. Not only am I now reporting to someone who isn't aware of how things were being ran and what the expectations and plans were for me, the person I'm reporting to now is not as entrenched in my environment or what my responsibilities are as I am or my prior boss was. So he's very hands off, which in some ways can be a good thing. But when he's so hands off that he leaves things alone and tell you to put things on hold and give you other things to do, that kind of like pulls you away from it, or he minimizes the things that he wants done in that environment, it really belittles you or makes you feel like, what am I here for then? So now I'm in a space where I'm still not experiencing fulfillment. In each role, there are things that each one have over the other. There's things that the first role had over the second have over the third have over the first, whatever the case may be. But what all of these three have in common is I keep going down all of these different roads to end up at the same destination, not feeling fulfilled. So that's the first point. There are many paths and routes that you can take that will lead you to one destination. So when you're trying to find fulfillment, when you're traveling, trying to find a new space and you keep finding yourself back at the same destination, that means you are going either taking the wrong direction or you're going after the wrong destination. You're supposed to be going somewhere else. What that means to me, I'm still waiting for God to let me know. And speaking of God, when you think you're going according to God's will, you sometimes find out that you're not. I was thinking that, I'm going according to what God asked me to, how God asked me to go, told God to lead me. But what happens is when you're in your worst situations, most of the time that's when people pray the hardest. So I prayed, I prayed my tail off when I was in the last two situations that were not appealing to me. And when I prayed, that's when I got out of them. But when I got to them, I stopped praying consistently. So that's when God said, oh, okay, you don't need me. You must, be okay with how things are and think that you have control on how things can and will be. So once I stopped praying and got out of the situation, got to the next one, God said, oh, you got this? Okay, here you go. And things changed for the worse. I stopped praying, so things stopped going in my favor. Or I stopped feeling that fulfillment and contentment in that space that I was in. So as I just stated, from Travelers, which was the first job, to One Main, which was the second, and now my current role in regional, there have been slight modifications in each role, but I still felt unfulfilled in each one. So the common denominator that I realize in all of them are two things. One, I need to pray harder, pray more, and pray more consistently. And the thing about it too is sometimes we think we know who or what we're called to be. And God is trying to say, again, God is like, okay, you said you want this so bad. This is what you want. This is what you feel called to be. And God blesses us with that opportunity of getting what we think we want, knowing the whole time that's not what I want you to be. And again, I don't know if that's what God is saying to me, but that could be what God is saying to you. Or what God is saying is, look, you're on the right track, but you keep taking the wrong turn. I could be meant to be a risk manager, but maybe in a different type of organization, because risk management is what I aspired to become or be a part of. But the last two have been with lending organizations, financial companies, and both times have dealt me adversity, which again I say is an opportunity, not an obstacle. What we have to see with adversity is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger with what God is trying to prepare us for. Because we sometimes think we're ready for something, but God is like, not yet. I gotta show you a few things first before I get you there. And so I don't know what the answer to the problem or the answer to these questions are. But you know why I don't know? Because I'm not praying enough. And I'm not asking God for his guidance. I ask God for his guidance to get me here. But once you get there, you can't tell God he can leave now. You have to tell God, I still want you to be a part of this journey with me. I don't just want you to get me to my destination. Because once you let God go, you're at a crossroad. Speaking of God, we're going to now transition over to spiritual relief, which today comes from Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 through 22. And it reads, "See, I'm sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and to bring you to the place I've prepared. Pay attention to him and listen to what he says. Do not rebel against him. He will not forgive your rebellion, since my name is in him. If you listen carefully to what he says and do all that I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies and oppose those who oppose you." What that scripture says to me is when you stop praying for God to lead and guide you, your steps, to lead and guide your steps, you will find yourself walking in circles or ending up at crossroads. Tired of me saying that yet? If you pray for God to get you there, and then once you stop, once your destination is reached, you're implying that you are content with where you are and no longer need God to lead you any further. So you feel stuck, you feel confused, lost. You told God you had it figured out, but then wonder why your location isn't changing, why your circumstances isn't changing. You're like, all right, I'm here, but I don't feel much different than I felt before I got here, because you let God lead. And lastly, when you question the lack of progress or movement in your journey, you're reminded that you need to pray more. Spoke directly to me, and now that's why I'm sharing it with you. I keep feeling like I keep ending up in the same space with everything that I'm pursuing, from a professional standpoint and from a platform standpoint. And that's because I stopped praying to God about it. I prayed to him for it, felt, when I saw things shift and move, I'm like, okay, thank you, God. You're working in my favor. You're working in my life. You got things moving. Thank you. I finally get there, and then I'm like, pretty much, all right, thank you, God. You'll be leaving now. And wonder why things aren't moving. Now we're going to transition over to my last segment of In My Opinion. In this segment, for those of you who haven't watched or listened to this segment before, I do a top 5 of something that may be a little bit that's relatable to the topic, but a little bit, different. That's a little bit outside of the box. For this one, these all have relatable and have somewhat of a metaphorical context to them. But let me just share. These are the top 5 reasons we get lost when driving to our destination. Distracted, talking to a person in the car or on the phone. Trying to avoid traffic and or took a different way. Missed a turn on autopilot and lost track of where you're going. And 5, you're not the one doing the driving. Someone else has the steering wheel. Now that last one, my wife suggested. So that was a pretty good one. And I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to hers in a second. I should have had her on to talk about that. But the first one, distracted talking to someone in the car or on the phone. We, get so caught up in, in what we're doing. We're so caught up in our environment that we sometimes have tunnel vision and we don't observe and see our surroundings. So we get so caught up in what's going on, around us instead of looking at what's going on outside of us and in front of us. So you sometimes miss your turn. You keep going because you're talking to the person next to you as opposed to paying attention to the road. And that happens in life. We get so caught up in our circumstances and what's going on next to us, or, right here in our immediate view, instead of focusing ahead and, seeing what's in front of us and what the universe is trying to tell us or what God is trying to show us. We're focused on what someone else is telling us. Trying to avoid traffic or took a different way. This one is probably me to a T. I can't stand being stuck in traffic. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. But am I the only one who, when I'm on the highway, if Google Maps tell me with a red line in front of me that is going to take me 25 minutes to get to a destination, and then I go and click and say avoid highways, and it say, oh, okay, it's a green line, but it's going to take you 35 to 40 minutes. 35 to 40 minutes, here I come, because I can't stand being stuck in traffic. And what that comes off as is trying to take your own way instead of God's way, trying to take the easy way out instead of the difficult way. And that's sometimes why we get lost heading to our destination. When we could have been at our destination, 20 to 25 minutes earlier, we decided to take a different route, try to do something a little different, add a little more to our route, add another stop, add another, thing that we wanted to go see, and end up late for our destination. That's me to a T, both in life and on the road. Missing a turn. Sometimes we try to skip a step. We think that we don't have to do that next step. First step, go to school. Second step, work for 2 years in an entry-level job. Some people want to skip that step and think that because they went to school, they don't have to do entry level. Not always the case. Some people think that, oh, I could be a director tomorrow. I was a manager last week, but sometimes you need to be an assistant director first. Maybe you need to be a manager for 3 or 4 more years. Maybe you need to be a manager of more than 2 or 3 people. Some people miss a turn, AKA skip a step, on autopilot and lose track of where you're going. That's sort of the same as distracted, talking to someone next to you, except for you get caught up in your own way. Instead of talking to someone, you're so stuck on yourself and you're so caught up in your own thoughts. And again, you got tunnel vision. It's your way or the highway. You haven't been humbled enough. Lastly, you're not the one driving. Someone else has the steering wheel. I think that one speaks for itself. I mean, instead of following the trail that God has laid before you and the trail that is intended for you, you try to go and take the same path that someone else took. You see your friend or your associate that was able to level up in 2 years. So you think that you could level up in 2 years taking the same exact track or trail that they took, when maybe your skill set isn't fit for that. Maybe your skill set is fit for something different. Maybe your experiences are fit for something different. Maybe your interests are fit for something different. But sometimes instead of driving our own car or taking our own route, we want to drive the cars that other people have. We want to go down the roads that other people are taking. We want to live in the neighborhoods that other people are living in. But God created us. Maybe God created you to be an impact to another community instead of the community that your friend live in. Maybe God felt you're a better fit for XYZ community instead of ABC community that Joe Schmo lives in. But that's what happens when we want to drive other people's cars, take other people's destinations, and take their own travels and trails. So that's my 2 cents. That one went a little bit deeper than I expected. But hey, what is my company called? Deep Discussion. Thank you, as always, for your continued support. And before I log off and go out here and be and obtain more inspiration to share with you on my next episode, I want to share with you these books that I just wrote. If you love the poem that I read at the beginning of this episode, or poetry that I read at the beginning of other episodes, I am a published author of 2 books of poetry, one called If These Feelings Could Talk, and the other one called Breathing as I Reflect. And these books are about maybe 30 to 40 plus poems, just sharing my thoughts as I reflect on my experiences, things that I've went through, what it taught me, and what I felt God was saying to me in those experiences. So be sure to check those out if you're someone that's interested in love poetry with a deep meaning and that has some substance to it, that is going to open your mind and help you to connect with your experiences and connect with the universe, to be open-minded, because that's what I want to do. I want to expand your heart and mind to reach and connect and grab what God is trying to show you in all of your experiences. And speaking of God, I felt compelled to write a devotion. And this is called Embracing Your Role in the Kingdom. And this devotional is about, I think it's about 50 to 55 Bible verses or scriptures shared with a message. And this is about how to be a servant of God, or be a servant to others for God. In our kingdom, we all have gifts that we possess that God has entrusted us with. And he entrusted us with those gifts not to be self-serving, but to serve others and honor him in doing so. And that's what this book is all about. So be sure to visit my website. I do have 2 other books that I sell, but those are the ones that just came, that are hot off the presses. But as you know, I do have my life skills book that I re-editioned it. So it's actually now called Mastering Life: Essential Skills for Everyday Success. It used to be in a life skills handbook, but I again re-editioned it and made it look a little bit better and be a little bit more a little bit more inviting. And this is Black History Every Month 2025 planner. This is something that I decided to write. I wrote 12 poems about the Black history experience, or the Black experience and Black culture experience. And it's 1 poem for each month, and there's a bunch of different things you can do in there. It's I have a vision board in here. I have a page for you to write down your goals for 2025, your priorities, self-care. It's a lot of different things in here to keep track of. But this planner embodies the Black culture and Black excellence experience, and it's something that you could take with you every day as you map out your plans of success so that you can be successful and grow more connected and closer to the Black community. So be sure to, again, visit my website, deepdiscussion.org, and click the Deep Discussion store link at the top to order your copy of one, if not all of those books. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to the Live and Learn podcast for another informative episode. I hope that you come away with fresh insight, knowledge, and perspective, and motivation to carry with you on your own path. Remember that learning and living are constant companions throughout life. Please make sure you subscribe to my podcast if you haven't already, if you're listening to this through a friend, or if you just, happen to peruse through and just see this one episode and say, I wonder what this one is about, Crossroads. Man, why don't you subscribe to Deep Discussion and learn more? I got so many different other episodes with guests, myself, that has some very inspiring and inspirational and motivational messages that will help you get through any adversity that you're going through. Because again, let your adversity be an opportunity, not an obstacle. Again, please subscribe and forward this episode to your friends and family if you liked and enjoyed what you heard today. You can follow Deep Discussion on all social media platforms. You can visit the website, deepdiscussion.org. And if you'd like to be a guest or get connected and partner with me in any way, shape, or form, reach out to me via email, deepdiscussion13@gmail.com, or you can contact me via phone at 443-356-6096. Until our paths cross again, may you continue to live, learn, and appreciate the adventure. Stay inquisitive and take care.